Hello, this is Richard Nickel, Pittsburgh Modular Synthesizers, day 4 at NAMM. Today, now with Wi-Fi, so that makes it better. At least maybe the stream won't die today, which is nice. I feel like at this point I've walked around and shown you just about everything near us. I'm going to flip the camera around. A few things yesterday maybe we missed. I don't know. Just the ridiculous Roland booth. I'm glad that we're right next to Roland drum section. That's worked out. It's worked out great for us over the last couple of days. Relentless drum demos are fantastic. Have 2HP booth. These guys, we're kind of jealous of their booth. I think they have the best booth at NAMM. As you can see, they have a picnic table, so they get to sit all day. We have no seats in our booth, and so we're super jealous. I think they're showing this lunchbox. Just pretty cool. Dig it, dig it. Apparently they have raisins. Everyone loves raisins, right? All right. The Electro Smith guy, I think yesterday during the live stream, this was cut off. My interview with this guy was cut off, but what he's doing is super, super cool. He's got a Kickstarter coming out. If you like DIYing and programming, his little box is going to make it super fun. I'm excited to back it and get one in. Qubit guys, they have their Cascade module, which we have our Cascade delay. So again, two companies coming up with the same name. They have this crazy, it looks like a foosball table or something in their booth. There's all these patch cables and knobs attached. The knobs don't actually do anything, and the patch cables don't actually do anything. But it looks kind of cool. The Andreas Schneider booth. I think what they did this year was kind of cool. They, instead of having specific tables for specific companies, they've kind of grouped everything together, and you can just kind of sit down at a table and play around with things. Just kind of an interesting way to go about it. The new Dope for Joystick module. Wow, this feels really good. It's kind of fun, I gotta say. I like it. Frap tools. Good morning, gentlemen. They have their new oscillator they're showing here. I heard this yesterday. Man, is it good. I don't know how these guys sleep. They're just coming up with really interesting things all the time.
Good morning and welcome to day 4 of the NAMM show. The show floor is now open.
STG Sound Labs doing interesting things here. Got their synthesizer voice. This thing is super quirky. Sounds really good though. I know I showed all this stuff.
Hi everybody.
Good morning, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Mark. Good morning, good morning. Verbose Electronics booth, again, these guys show up late every single day. Not a day goes by where they're here on time, and you know what, that's fine. Nobody wants to sell synthesizers early in the morning. Unnecessary. Completely unnecessary.
Well, let's come on over, baby. We got chicken in the barn.
I don't know how you can pull yourself together enough on Sunday to have some energy to perform like that. But hey, it's NAMM. Everyone's doing their thing. Whatever you can do to get people in your booth, right? I gotta say, I'm super over it. It's the German. I guess they're selling Germany. Fantastic, fantastic. Microphones. I took a walk yesterday. I don't know if I can get over there fast enough today, but I walked yesterday through the drum section, and it's a huge, huge hall. Stream keeps cutting out. Kind of is what it is. Yesterday I tried to do it over the cell network, and the stream crashed completely. This is over the Wi-Fi, and it seems to be a little bit better. Yeah, I know the Wi-Fi is dropping out, but the cell network is completely non-existent, so I'm kind of doing what I can. Here's some iConnect stuff. I don't want to walk on the carpet. Look how nice the carpet is vacuumed so nice. I don't want to ruin it, but I'm set up for iConnect. Now, iConnect has their own booth. I think they're distributed through Hal Leonard, so iConnect makes some really, really amazing MIDI gear. I bought one a few years ago. Back to the Germany booth. Oh, over here we have the Bob Moog Foundation. There's a couple of really nice instruments over here. We have just an absolutely beautiful mini Moog here.
Hello, hello. How you doing today?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm live on YouTube. I'm sorry, I know it's early. You don't have to talk to me if you don't want to.
Why would I not want to talk to you?
I don't want to talk to me this morning.
Okay, I can appreciate that. Enjoy. We got 3 fabulous Moog vintage synthesizers here on display.
They are absolutely gorgeous.
Steal their souls with your picture-making device.
I just want to absorb a little bit of it. I don't want to steal anything at all.
Absorb the synthy goodness.
Just want to suck it in.
Nice.
These things they're stunning works of art. They really, really are. This Sonic 6 might be my favorite of them all.
It's not. Last time I saw one of these was in the music store I used to work at, 1979, 41 years ago.
Nice. And what's your connection to the Bob Moog Foundation?
By title, I'm the online education coordinator. We have the Dr. Bob Sound School program, which is a 2nd grade science of sound curriculum using theremins and music technology.
Okay.
To teach it. And so I maintain all the music clips, videos, sound clips and stuff that our teachers use in the classroom. But pretty much as a small nonprofit, I do whatever our executive director tells me to.
Nice.
Yeah.
And clearly you're a synth nut, or this is...
Pretty much, yeah. This is, for me, this is so... I get to work in honor of one of the men who
Yes.
made my life possible.
Yes.
I learned synthesis in conjunction with a project when I was a senior in high school. I've been doing it ever since. I teach electronic music now, and as I tell my students, for 40 years, people have been paying me to make obnoxious noises with electronic gadgets. Pay attention, you can do that too. It's been a great life so far.
Nice. Very nice. Well, it's nice to meet you. It's Richard Nickel, Pittsburgh
Richard,
Modular Synthesizers.
pleasure to meet you, sir.
Oh,
Sure, Pittsburgh. I know you guys' stuff. Yeah.
I also have the pleasure. I design synthesizers for a living. So
Fun.
for me, this is...
See, I'm not that kind of guy. I'm the guy that when you bring me what you designed, I tell you what could be done better first, and then I tell you all the good stuff that you did. That's how this guy rolls.
I completely understand it. I'm not a player, so what I can do is just offer my time and designs to actual musicians.
But you know, that's the beauty of this, is you don't have to be able to play. Trigger a note and go. You can turn knobs, can't you?
You know what? I can play an arpeggiator like nobody.
There you go. Yeah, man. Get down with your bad self. Too fun.
Check out the Bob Moog Foundation online. These guys do really, really good work, and I
Yep.
think it's important to keep this stuff alive. And clearly, Bob has added a huge inspiration to all of us. Certainly to me.
Oh yeah,
You can
you're
see
not
it-
alone.
You can see it in our designs. Just with look at the SV1 and you look at a mini Moog, you can see the inspiration between the two instruments. I never got to meet him, but I can certainly be inspired by what he does every day.
Oh, we all are.
Thank you for the time. I'm going to
Thanks,
continue
man.
walking around.
Great to see you. Thanks for stopping by.
Enjoy.
Have a great last day.
No, because I want to buy it.
Dog. What was the craziest thing I've seen so far? Well, I nearly got run down yesterday at the end of the day by a mobility scooter going about 55 miles an hour through the hall. They nearly plowed into my broken leg. Michael had to jump in and pull me aside. So I would say that's the craziest thing so far that I knew. And that's no fun at all. Other than that, everything is, you see the same stuff at these things every year. And it's here and you're sort of hoping for some inspiration. Like, oh, I'm going to see something and that's going to inspire me to design something new. But it just doesn't happen. You see a bunch of really interesting gear and you kind of move on and you see something else that's really interesting. But we yesterday in the booth we were talking about someone posted the best synths of NAMM 2020, best new synths. It's like, wait a second, those things are 35, 40 years old. How are these the best of 2020? These are the best of the 1970s. Now they are gorgeous instruments, but I think there's a lot of interesting stuff going on in analog synthesis today that just isn't getting the publicity that it deserves compared to just recreations of classic instruments. Now it is amazing that 400 people get to own a new ARP 2600, but in reality it's just 400 people. I know they're secretly going to make the Mini and everyone will be able to afford one, and that's great. I think there needs to be more research and more money and more engineering put towards analog synthesis. Again, super biased because that's what I do for a living, but there's not too many of us doing it. You have Mark Verbose doing really, really interesting stuff, and you have us doing really, really interesting analog stuff, but who else out there is really innovating on the analog realm? Just not that many people. So that's my morning rant. I apologize for that. That's how I feel at the beginning of day 4. Here we go, the best synth of 2020, the Korg MS. I said this the other day, but the green looks really, really good. And of course it sounds good, but in person the green is a lot more muted than it shows up on camera. It looks super cool. This is sort of a strange display. You have the Triton, the Trinity, and then a new FM synth, all behind glass. So you can't actually get a decent picture of it, and you certainly can't hear it, which is sort of a bummer. But I think with this new FM thing, they've really nailed that DX7 brown. I wonder how much time they spent trying to find that color of brown, because they definitely nailed it. It's the Zune of synthesizers, the OP6. The feedback for our stuff has been great. We call it, you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt though. We call it the NAMM bubble. Everything is happiness and rainbows inside the NAMM. Everyone loves the delay. We're only making 100 of them, so as long as we can find 100 people that dig it, we can keep doing what we do. 1010 Music, these guys are doing really, really amazing stuff. I met him over the summer at a Sweetwater event. We got to play around with their black box. Really impressed, just so simple to use. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm sorry I'm live streaming. You could get out of the way. I know it's early for this to ask you. I don't want an interview or anything. I'm just sort of showing the world what we're doing here with synthesizers. It's the Solaris, this stuff. If you're a player, which I am absolutely not, there's nothing finer out there. Really impressive stuff. And to see it in person and to touch it, really, really nice gear. And just sounds, it's got a special sound to it. I like it. I like it a lot. Thank you guys. Have fun today. Background to STG Sound Labs. New mixers. This thing I don't know anything about, to be honest, but it looks beautiful. Because I can't play a lick, it's definitely not the instrument for me. Because it's for those who love to play keys, and I do not love to play keys. But it's gorgeous looking. 4MS booth. I've watched them tweaking away for the last 4 days. Their stuff is super, super cool. I love these little cases that these guys do. Super thin, just a couple of modules in it. Throw it in your backpack and take it anywhere. I interviewed Dan when we were both in Tokyo, and he gave me the rundown on these cases. It's such a cool idea, such an interesting way to do it. You just throw 2 or 3 of these in your backpack and you have your whole kit. They don't weigh 1,000,000 pounds like our cases do. It's not a commitment like our cases are. Very cool stuff. Their booth looks like they tried a lot harder than we did as well. So that's nice. Thanks, guys.
I'll be ready in like 10 minutes.
They'll be ready in 10 minutes. Do you have that I showed up late because it's Sunday vibe going on?
Oh man.
You guys did a Kickstarter recently, didn't you? I think our Kickstarter was live while your Kickstarter was live.
Yeah?
Because I remember, we searched synthesizers on Kickstarter. You don't get a whole lot of results.
No.
So I remember watching your little thing pass through, and it was super interesting little product.
Thank you.
Here's a little glimpse of it.
Here, let me see if I can show you something. The drum one's not working right now, but
That's all right.
I also have like 8 with me. I just have to. What was your synthesizer?
I'm the Pittsburgh Modular synthesizers.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I saw that too.
That's all right. I don't need a demo. Oh yes.
There we go.
I like it.
Yeah. How
Thank
you
you.
doing?
I'm doing well. Well, I'm beat down. It's Sunday, and it's been a long show, but it's all right.
Been a very long show.
Super fun. Thanks for a minute of your time.
Thank you too. Thank you.
Enjoy.
Yeah.
We have the Noise Bug booth. Of course, Noise Bug is the place to go if you want to buy Buchla and Buchla format stuff. We've got some Kilpatrick in the Buchla format. We've got something on 1979, which I don't know anything about, unfortunately, but it all looks very, very nice. And of course, they've got the actual Buchla stuff. This stuff here is all new. This wasn't here yesterday, so very strange. And you've got Moon Modular behind that, doing the 5U. And Studio Electronics was here. He was here, Mark was here 2 days ago. And I got to see him. Mark is an old friend of mine. We worked together. I designed a couple modules for them when they were doing Eurorack modules. And he gave me a demo of this MIDI. And it sounds so good. I think calling it a mini mode clone is unfair because it really has its own sound. It's super punchy, super nice. And again, I'm super biased because Mark is a friend of mine from many years back. But I think what Studio Electronics is doing is really, really, really interesting stuff. Back to the Roland drums, which is good. Just loud. Oh, and here's the 512 booth. I was looking around for this yesterday, and I couldn't find it. These guys have, now I found it. These guys have their vector sequencer. Oh, and the cork sample. Can't beat that. These guys do, I can't remember the name of the software. Numerology, yes, yes. Really interesting stuff. It's, if you're into sequencing and arpeggiations, absolutely worth checking out because it's sort of a different way of working than just opening Cubase or opening a standard DAW. Really interesting stuff. And of course, this is a brilliant man right here. He's designed the new Buchla 100 series modules. And they said he showed it. You showed it. Was that 3 years ago at NAMM or 2 years ago at NAMM? You showed it.
2 years ago at NAMM initially, and then with Buchla last year.
Okay. And I saw them yesterday over
in
the Alex 4 booth.
Yeah.
And really, just an epic feat of engineering on your part to get those 100 series modules sounding like they should, not trying to make them better because there's some serious problems with those things. But that's sort of the magic of them.
Right.
Is you said no, I'm not gonna change them. I'm gonna give people what they expect, which is sort of the quirkiness and the awkwardness of the modules. This is a smart man, smart man. And now, again, I was talking about this earlier in the stream. There's so few people doing analog engineering and synthesis right now. Mark Verbose is doing it, we're doing it, you're doing it, but there's not a whole lot of us. So it's interesting to see what everyone comes up with every year and sort of pushing synthesis forward. Because for some reason, the world has decided that you can only innovate digitally.
Right.
And that's absolutely not true. There's so much left in analog to discover. I don't know why I'm interviewing, because I'm just talking with you on camera.
That's all right.
But what I'm trying to say is your modules are amazing. I look forward to you doing more.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see what you do in your own designs.
I've got some ideas. Yeah.
Perfect.
So, I really like doing the Light 100 series stuff. I really like working with the basic set of components. Pretty much everything in there is discrete. It's all just transistors, resistors, capacitors. And that's pretty much it. And I really like the challenge of working with that and how that comes out. So, hopefully in the future I've got some ideas for my own stuff, and I'd like to take a lot of what I learned with doing the 100 series stuff and kind of integrate it into more modern stuff, but
nice.
Keeping that core analog discrete technology, basically.
Now, I know Eric well, and I know Buchla well. Are you working on 200? You probably can't tell me this on camera. Are you working on 200 series modules as well?
Not currently.
Okay.
I'm still working on the 100 series stuff that is yet to come out. There's another probably 5 or 6 modules.
Okay.
I'm working on currently.
Well, I'm absolutely looking forward to that. Thank you for your time. I'm sorry to bother you on Sunday morning.
Not a lot else going on Sunday morning here, so.
No.
Yeah.
Well, cool. I'll stop by without the camera later on and give you a chat.
Nice to see you, man.
See you, man. Again, the Roland booth just never ends. It just keeps going and going and going. They have DJs and performances and full bands and bonkers pianos. It looks like a grand piano from outer space. Roland, the kings of digital. Alfred Music, if you want some sheet music. I did an interview with Dave Cusick, who works for the dev team on Finale. He's showing in the Alpha. Dave's an old friend of mine. We have here it's the Novation booth. Ricky Tynes in the background doing some demos. Novation stuff in the last couple of years really, really, really impressed me. These guys are coming out with some really interesting synthesizers. This Summit is a really impressive piece. It sounds really, really good. Doesn't weigh 2,000 pounds. I'm a fan. Some MIDI controllers, sequencer pads.
I wasn't actually here Friday or Saturday.
This is the noise engineering guys talking to Ricky. Hi guys, good morning. Sorry, I'm not interrupted. The internet needs to know.
Yeah.
Bass Station 2. This thing is one of my favorite synths. It sounds so good. I love it. Absolutely love it. Love any synthesizer that has its own sound. It's not trying to recreate something. It's just trying to be what it is. It sounds so good. That is the Novation booth. Nord booth. These guys, I gotta be honest, I don't know anything about what they do at all. I know I see red instruments on every pro stage in the world, but for some reason they have slipped through my world and I don't know anything about them. I think they look nice. I'm sure they sound unbelievable. I don't know anything about them. I do like this sledge though. Sort of a weird, quirky instrument. An all digital synth emulating analog, but I played one a few times. I really like the sound and I like the interface. Super easy to use, easy to understand. It's very mini mode based in the UI. And that makes it easy to jump in. If you know synthesizers, you're going to be able to turn this on and get a good sound out of it. And it's really, really yellow. Looking at the image on the screen and looking at it in real life, it's that yellow. It's absolutely that yellow. I think that's about it. There's not really much else in the synth world going on. We have, you can wander over to the Arturia booth over here. These guys have a Keystep Pro, I think, which I'm absolutely certain I will own in the next few months because I'm a sucker for small arpeggiators and sequencing tools aren't tied to a DAW. I keep waiting for someone to design the perfect sequencer so I don't have to ever think about doing it. Lots of white, lots of white. Here it is here, the Keystep Pro. This is an interesting idea. I never owned the BeatStep Pro. I have a BeatStep and we have, as a company, we probably own 20 Keysteps. They're just all over the shop. Just because it's so dumb simple and it does what it does really well and really fast. And for $129 for a Keystep, you can't beat that. The Keystep Pro, I don't know a whole lot about it. When you're at these shows, you really don't have time to do any research, sort of dig into what's announced. But when I get back, I'm definitely going to research it, and I'm absolutely sure that I'm going to own one at some point. Because it seems like an interesting product. Right up my alley. Matrix Brute, I had one of these. At one point, we did a trade with Arturia, and we gave a bunch of modules, and we got 2 or 3 synthesizers, and this is one they sent us. That is all I will say about that. I'm not sure when they have an iMac Pro at a trade show, but it's good to see they've got all the power they need to render just about anything. No modular stuff in their booth, which is strange because they came out with their modular cases, was that 2 years ago? And I thought, oh, well, the obvious next step is do cases and then do modules. So the Behringer format, Behringer did the cases, and then, 6 months later, the market is so small for modular. It's such a niche product, and the numbers are so small that units at a time. And, at Pittsburgh Modular, we run 300, 500 on a super big run of products at a time. And I just don't think they're going to see the numbers that they think Eurorec is. Eurorec is such a little niche market that it really only works as a small little companies. I could be wrong, Behringer's going to come out, they're going to sell 10 million of those systems probably. So what do I know? But kind of is what it is. Liven, 8-bit warps. I actually backed this. I saw this a couple days ago for the first time, so I immediately backed it on Kickstarter. I think it was $164 US. It's kind of weird because you go to the Kickstarter page and it wants you to pay in yen. So it's sort of a strange thing, but for $164 you get this super, super cool little box. And I couldn't say no. I'm such a sucker for these kind of things. And it sounds super good too, which, always helps. It's not just a dumb toy that's gonna sit on my desk. It's an instrument that I'll definitely use. I like to have, 1 or 2 drum machines sitting on my desk at any given time, because you never know when you need to patch something in and work with something at the modular synth. You want an augmenting sound or an extra sound. And so this will have a nice place. It's the perfect size to sit on my desk. Something to distract me instead of doing real work. Good morning, guys. I know it's Sunday. I don't expect an interview from you guys, but I did just back your thing a couple days ago.
Thank you.
And
Do you want to hear some sounds real quick?
I don't know if they'll come across on the live stream, but absolutely, make some noise for me.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, if you stand right here between the monitors,
Okay.
you can get something decent out of it. So this is my favorite song. He's heard it a million times, but
Oh, and our booth is right over there, so I've heard it. You guys do a good thing over and over too.
demo. Okay.
But that's all right. The internet has not heard your demo. Almost has like a Foreman filter sound to it.
Yeah. So that's a wave. That's a 3. Like you choose 3 waveforms, and then it's like a wavetable cycling.
Oh, very, very cool.
Yeah. It's 8-bit serum. No.
Nice. Yeah, I talked to you briefly 2
Sweet.
days ago at the very end of the day.
Oh, cool.
Honestly, I backed it, but I don't know a whole lot about it. I'm looking forward to getting one.
Yeah.
And just like I said, sit it on my desk, and it'll be a distraction for me designing synthesizers.
Yeah, and you were saying like it'll sit next to your drum machine. The cool thing is it's got like it's a 4-track stereo looper. So if you do have your drum machine and you like have a pattern, you can record that into here.
Nice.
And then you can clear out your drum machine pattern or save the pattern and then do something else and like later.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So internet people, check it out. Sonic Rare, they're on the Kickstarter. Again, $164, and I told him this 2 days ago. He's selling his stuff too cheap. It doesn't look like a $164 product.
Oh, thank you.
It definitely looks pro.
Yeah.
It looks like a legit synthesizer.
Thanks, man.
They could charge $300 or $400 for this. I would still pay it.
Oh, thank you.
You guys keep doing what you're doing.
Okay.
Thanks,
you.
man. Beatbox, the Rhythmo. This is another Kickstarter project. This is made out of cardboard. I don't know what it costs. ASM sound machines. They're in a meeting. I don't want to distract them. Ignore me. Absolutely ignore me. The Hydrosynth, they announced this last year. It's just an amazing, amazing instrument. Our booth is right across the aisle from them here, so I've been listening to this thing now for 4 days. Really, really impressive sounding instruments. All digital core is to just do something interesting. You can innovate because you're not saying, oh, are we going to sell it for that? So the Hydrosynth is an example of a really interesting, innovative instrument. Then back in the Alex 4 booth, we have the UDO. This is the Super 6. So George is telling you right now, but George right there, he designed our original oscillator from the chip we used, the oscillator core in our first oscillator. And actually, this show is the first time I ever met him in person. You know, all of our communication, all our business was done over email, because he lives over in England. So 3 or 4 days ago was the first time I ever met him. Super nice guy. Really impressed with what he's doing. I love the oscillator chip. And of course, you know, when he puts his mind to do a full synthesizer, it's going to be good, and it absolutely is. The titans of synthesis. With Mark Vail talking to Dieter Doepfer. What conversations could they be having? Who knows? Secret conversations. All right, I think that's it. We've shown you the booth, given you a sense of what NAMM is like on Sunday. Everyone's moving a little slower. We're all beat up. We're all tired. My voice is shot. Everyone's voice is shot. You can hear it. Everybody's voice is cracking today. So that's kind of what NAMM is like. If you've ever wanted to come to NAMM, hopefully now you don't. And if you've come to NAMM, hopefully this will remind you why you don't want to come next year. We're going to do an event tomorrow at Perfect Circuit that is open to the public. If you're in the LA area, stop by, say hello. I think Perfect Circuit offers free food and beer. So if there's no other reason to come, just come for the free food and beer. That seems like a good enough reason to me. Our booth, I spent a ton of time talking about other people's stuff. As far as engineering, here's our stuff. Barry is selling things, Michael is selling things, working very hard. Thank you very much. Goodbye, Internet.